Today, I am talking with Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire about what you need to know about veteran entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Military Marketing Monday, where I help your business or brand learn more about military life so that you're able to market to this demographic better. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss any more episodes from Military Marketing Monday or from this channel to help your message get seen in a cluttered newsfeed. I'm really excited about today's video because I'm talking with Lee Dumas, who is the owner of Entrepreneur on Fire. And not only that, but he is an Army veteran who is going to help you learn everything you need to know about veteran entrepreneurs. Lee Dumas is a commissioned veteran officer of the U.S. Army. He joined the Army after graduating from Providence College on an ROTC scholarship, and his service record includes a 13-month tour in Iraq. Since separating from the Army, Lee Dumas is now the host of Entrepreneurs on Fire, where he interviews the world's most successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. With over 1,900 interviews, 1.3 million monthly listeners, and an annual revenue of over 7 figures, JLD is just getting started on his entrepreneurial journey. Not only is Entrepreneur on Fire a fantastic podcast, but has also been awarded Best of iTunes. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started with our interview. So John, tell me, what is the one thing that business owners need to know about veteran entrepreneurs?
They need to know this. We are loyal. We're disciplined. We're committed to starting something, and not only just starting it, but finishing it. So you just have to take that mentality and understand it, that, we've been trained from a very young age, most of us, that when you start something, you finish it. When you say you're going to do something, you do that thing. When you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, you're there at a certain time. And that was a huge shock for me and a huge change when I entered the civilian world post-military, being like, oh, you said to be here at 7 p.m., but you met like 7:30? Like, I don't get that. Like, that's just not how we operate. Like, your time is valuable. My time is valuable. When you're marketing to military, when you're dealing with the military, recognize that. Realize that they are used to having standards and upholding those standards. So definitely make sure that you're doing the same.
And what do you think a common misconception is that business owners and people in general have about veteran entrepreneurs?
I think that they just can follow orders. That's a misconception. We're trained, especially as officers, but even as enlisted soldiers, that there's going to be times when the chain of command breaks down. There's going to be times when you're in the field and something happens and, somebody goes down and you're going to have to step up and take charge. So, we don't have this rigid chain of command that, for instance, like the Redcoats had back in the 1700s when the British were fighting the Americans. Like, we have a very flexible, squad to platoon to company to battalion. And if any of those break down, there's somebody there that can step up and take charge and lead. So veterans, they know how to shift. They know how to be agile. They know how to make decisions on their own and be independent. They know how to question orders if those orders should be questioned. Like, specifically for officers, we're obligated to question orders that we think are incorrect. So we will do that. And a lot of people just think, oh, they're military, they're veterans, like just tell them what to do and they'll run through a brick wall. That's not the case, and you need to realize that.
That's such a good point. I never thought about that before. So what do you think it is that makes veterans such good entrepreneurs?
Because they just work hard. And this is the thing that I definitely realized my first ever job post-military is, job starts at 9 a.m. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get there at 7:30 so that by 9 a.m. I'm ready to start and really get cranking because, I want to prep. I want to have things in order. I want to know what I'm doing. And it just I looked around at 9:15, 9:30. And again, this is in a high-level financial services job in downtown Boston at John Hancock. We are all wearing suits and ties every single day to work. Like, I thought this was going to be it. And it just wasn't the case. And I was just like, man, I didn't realize that you were able to kind of bring this kind of lax, this kind of chill out attitude to a job at this level. I mean, we're getting paid good money to perform, and a lot of people just aren't performing. So hard work was something that immediately brought me to the top. And it was something that I thought I was going to have to claw my way for a couple of years to get to where I got literally in a couple of weeks. I mean, it's almost embarrassing to say how easy it was.
So then what do you think it is that makes veteran entrepreneurs different from other small business owners?
We have really spent a lot of time training. So we know SOPs, standard operating procedures, and we look for those in everything that we do. So for instance, like in my first job, I was like, okay, what's the SOP for a phone call to a potential customer who I've never spoken to before? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, like, how do I start the conversation? What do I want to ask them during the conversation? How do I end the phone call to make sure I got everything that I need? They're like, you just make the call. And I'm like, well, how do I know that I'm doing it right? What's the evaluation process? What's the after action review? What's the AAR? And it was just like I was speaking a different language. Like, they're like, what are SOPs? What are AARs? Like, they just didn't get that it was part of how I operated, and that it just made so much sense to me, to how I think. But also, if you really think about it, it just makes sense. That's why people were screwing up and weren't getting the information they needed and had to go back and call again, or just, weren't getting the sales that they should be getting on those calls, because they didn't have a set of standard operating procedures that were proven to work. In the military, that'll get you killed. In corporate America, that just means you don't make an extra, commission check that week. So people don't take it as seriously.
When was a time in your business that being a veteran helped you work through a problem or an issue?
One thing will definitely be when I wanted to start my podcast, and I had no idea how to podcast, really any of the technical sides behind a podcast. I said, what should be my next step? And then I remembered back that when we first would get to any base and we were given a position, we were always attached to somebody who had already had that job, and that person showed us the ropes, and we job shadowed them and we learned from them. They were our direct mentor. And that's what I did. I went and I hired a direct mentor, somebody who was where I wanted to be in life. And I just see a lot of people not doing that in the civilian world. They say, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. And of course, they make the mistakes and they screw up and then they quit because they think it's too hard. But if you just find somebody who's been where you want to be, and you have them mentor you, and you shadow them, and you ask them the right questions, you're going to get there. And in the military, that was forced upon us, rightfully so, because again, that's a big deal. In the civilian world, it's not. You're going to make it happen on your own.
So what are your closing thoughts on what you really think that all business owners need to know about veteran entrepreneurs?
I think again, I want to kind of maybe finish with how we started, is that you're getting somebody that's very loyal. And that's really hard to find this day and age. I know that something that was drilled into me at a very young age when I was an officer in the U.S. Army was, listen, you finish the mission that you start. So when you hire a veteran, they're going to finish the mission that they start. So if you give them the tools that they need, they're going to see that through. And I've seen that time and time again. I've executed upon that myself. And, a lot of times I've seen people, kind of like rats leaving a ship that's quote unquote sinking. And I'm just like, that's the opposite time to leave the ship. You go down with the ship, unless there's a really good reason for you not to do so. So that's one thing that I definitely see as a big value add.
John, that information was so fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on this show and help businesses and marketers learn more about military life so that they can market to us better. Seriously, that information was fantastic. I hope that you enjoyed this interview as much as I did asking those questions to John. He really is an inspiration for all entrepreneurs. If you're looking to learn more about what it's like to be a military spouse of a veteran, you're going to watch this video that's right here. And if, hey, maybe you want to learn more about military life and what PCSing actually is, you're going to want to watch this video that's right here. And like we always say, military life is never goodbye. It is see you soon. So until next time, I will see you soon.